Hi, scribes! We've come so far, haven't we? I hope we've been having fun too, because the most important thing is to enjoy what you're doing. I mean, if the writer isn't feeling it, then the story would definitely suffer for it. It's like trying to write a comedy in dull spirits. I can't even imagine what the end result of that will be. Alright, in this app, we're going to understand what a logline is. But before we begin, let me paint the scenario. Let's believe that at this stage, you've moved past idea to research to creating interesting characters to plotting your story, whether in a 3-act or 5-act structure, and the story has good form from beginning to end. Nice! Then one day, you go to a party, you're seated at the table, and voila! Aliko Dangote is placed at the same table as you. Okay, a quick one for those who don't know. Aliko Dangote is, as at the time of this video, the richest African man in the world. Okay? Back to our scenario. So of course being seated next to such a figure, you're shocked, impressed, and nervous. But you can't let this opportunity go to waste. You give him a polite smile and introduce yourself. His response is warm. And mentally you're excited, perhaps thanking God for such an opportunity. Then you remember you have this great story that has been languishing in the folder on your laptop. And you think, this must be a sign. Maybe it's meant to be the executive producer. Now you're wondering, how do I introduce the conversation with him? But as fate will have it, he looks at you and asks, what do? You tell him you're a writer and he's impressed, which shocks and excites you even more. Then you say, sir, I actually have a story I've been working on. I've just been looking for someone to fund it. Dangote is about to reply, but then an aide leans close and whispers something to him. So Dangote tells you, so sorry, I have to go now, but you can walk with me to my car and tell me the story. Of course you're happy. He starts to leave and you follow him. Then you open your mouth and you begin to stammer and stutter, trying to shrink 5 pages of story plot into 60 seconds of talk. It's a disaster. Welcome to the concept of logline. What is a logline? A logline is a brief 1 to 2 sentence summary of a movie or TV show. The logline hooks the reader or listener in and describes the central conflict of the story, meaning it conveys the premise but also adds an emotional aspect that leaves the reader or listener enticed. A logline includes these: protagonist, inciting incident, goal, and central conflict. If someone asks you what your story or screenplay is about, respond with a logline. Note that movie loglines are concise. That's the most important aspect of a logline definition. Let me give you some examples of some of the best loglines. The Godfather. The logline goes, the aging patriarch of an organized crime dynasty transfers control of his clandestine empire to his reluctant son. Notice how clear and concise that was? You get the idea of the story and it manages to have you wanting more, all without revealing too much of the story. But imagine if the logline went like this. There was a mafia don who had children but liked his last son best. But this son doesn't like the mafia things his family does, so he stays away from them. Then one day the mafia don's daughter was getting married and the man decided blah blah blah. I can already feel you cringing at how convoluted that was. What if I told you it's still the same story, just expressed scatteredly? Surprised? Another example of a really good logline is this. 2 star-crossed lovers fall in love aboard the RMS Titanic and struggle to keep their relationship afloat as the doomed ship sinks into the Atlantic. Yeah, I know you've already guessed it. It's the logline for the Titanic. Now just imagine if the writer had gone like this. 2 people, one poor boy and one rich girl, fall in love on a giant ship, the Titanic. So the story is that the rich girl was already engaged to marry someone else, another rich man. But she doesn't like this rich man because he's too controlling. So when she gets on the ship, blah blah blah. It doesn't even count as a logline. It just sounds like you telling the story to a group of close friends while hanging out. I can go on and on with so many examples showing how not to write loglines, but let's move on to what's important: how to write a logline. These are the steps. 1. Identify the protagonist. 2. What is an inciting incident? 3. What is the protagonist's goal? 4. What is the conflict? For today, we're going to press pause here, but I encourage you to practice writing a logline using these steps. You can look at the examples of good loglines given as a guide. In the next episode, we continue learning how to write a logline, and you can compare to whatever you've written already. Please don't neglect these exercises. It's how you build your creative muscles. Push yourself to do a little more every day, okay? Cool. See you next episode. Bye. I always look forward to your comments, or you can send an email to writenowscribes@gmail.com and say hi on IG at writenowscribes.